So we were Polly was planned, so
Okay.
we were really excited to add that second addition to our family. Everything we planned on having like the first 2 years apart. So that was it was working out good. Towards the end, I started getting Braxton Hicks contractions very frequent. It was very frequent, and I didn't remember that happening with Sienna.
Yeah.
So I told my doctor, and she's like, "That's normal as long as you're not bleeding.
Okay.
Then it's not anything to worry about. That's what your body's supposed to do." Towards the end, this all happened after 36 weeks, so I did have comfort. Actually, it was like right here,
Yeah.
on the side of my belly, and it wasn't really extremely painful or anything like that, so I didn't think it was that much of a concern.
Gotcha.
But I do want to talk about my doctor's appointment. My last doctor's appointment, I went to go see my OB, and she's really busy. I went on a Friday, and she was 2 hours late. It was the last appointment of the day, and I went in and I told her my concerns. I also told her that because at 36 weeks, I changed from my blood thinners to one that lasts 12 hours. It's better for giving birth. It's also reversible. So I let her know that, we'll remind her. And when we listened to the baby's heartbeat, and I remember the doctor taking long to find her heartbeat, longer than usual. And I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, oh, everything's fine. And I thought that was kind of strange, but I trusted my doctor, of course. So that day I was getting ready for work. I was working from home. I was also going to get my hair done. I was going to get my braids. It was a normal day. I washed my hair, and towards the end of the day, I noticed that Holly wasn't moving as often as she usually did. So I had some ice cream, and I went and laid down. It was pretty late, like 11 o'clock. And I noticed that she wasn't moving like she should. You're supposed to wait 2 hours and do like a 10 kick count, but she wasn't really moving. And I would turn from side to side, and I noticed that she, flopped kind of easily. So I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And I got up to go to the hospital that day. Steve stayed home with Sienna, and I met my mom at the hospital. We got there, and I told them I'm not really feeling movement, and they're like, okay, fill out this paperwork. We get back to triage sends us back, and we go to the nurse. They hook up the monitor and an ultrasound, and they're like, "Oh, she's fine. Here's her heartbeat," and we're like, "Whoo, thankful about it." And then within like not even 10 minutes, they're like, "Oh, you had a contraction that you didn't feel, and her heart rate is dropping rapidly, so we need to get you to an emergency C-section." Which I'm panicking because Steve wasn't there. I didn't expect it. I thought she was fine. So we got there. They did the emergency C-section.
Hey Holly, it's mommy and daddy. We love you. Thank you for being so strong.
But they found out that I had a placenta abruption. That's what they later found out, and they found out there were blood clots on the side of the placenta. It was a concealed placenta abruption, so I had no bleeding. And it is because a lot of women experience bleeding earlier prior to the abruption happening. So they're monitored at the hospital, they're put on bed rest. Since I did not have those signs, and ours was like immediate, it was like really fast, we didn't get, a chance to have that care that we needed. So
just panic and frustration. I mean, for one, she talked about how at 36 weeks she's supposed to switch medications, but it took them about a week to switch it past when she should have in the first place. And she raised a lot of concerns, and it just seemed like nothing was being really heard there, right? Then frustration again because her and her mom get to the hospital in an obvious state of panic, right? And it just felt like the way that sounds like they were treated wasn't really the greatest, right? Like they were just kind of given some piece of papers and told to go to the side, almost like, they had a cold or something like that, right? shortly after. It's part of the empty nesters, you know, the people
Empty
who leave
arms.
empty arms, yeah. Um, and you know, it was good though. I think that helped a lot, just reminding myself that, you know, we're not alone, and you'd be surprised, you know, people would reach out left and right, people I haven't heard from in a while, and you'd be surprised. Some people have gone through something similar. Some people have no idea, but they just wanted to reach out and be there. So I think a lot of that just helped out a way. You know, you'd be surprised just texting someone, you know, hope you're doing well, can go a long way.
Yeah.
It was ongoing support, being around other individuals who went through the same thing, and knowing that, like Steve said, we're not alone. Sometimes it's hard to talk about losing a baby. So having people that we can reach out to who can relate to us has been really helpful. It was so important to us. I never want her to be forgotten. And I want parents to feel comfortable talking about and still celebrating and loving that child that they lost. So that's so important to me, because I feel like the issue of infant loss or pregnancy loss can be taboo. So it's great to have other women who are going through the same thing, to understand that, you know, other people have gone through it and that we're still thriving. And there's actually some positives that can happen afterwards, and just to keep going. I'm pregnant with baby number 3. So we are 5 months pregnant due in May. I'm super excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My name is Sharissa Falls, and I'm the Maternal Child Health Director here at County.
And my name is Shanavia Montgomery, and I am the Chief Executive Officer with Caring.
Yes, so I provide programmatic oversight of a guided journey, which is a home visiting program overseen by community health workers. The program provides services to family up until the child turns 2. Yes, so a guided journey, those community health workers, just like Nurse Family Partnership, they're in the homes too, and they make an impact by helping families towards self-sufficiency, as far as making sure moms are connected to OB doctors, pediatricians, helping families if they have lack of transportation get to these appointments. So they do an excellent job with making sure families are connected to community resources.
Immediately, by having a healthy pregnancy, you're offering mom a healthy start to what can be a very tumultuous journey. Should be a happy journey, but sometimes some of the barriers that get in the way, you know, make that more of a challenge. And then you have a baby that has a healthy start, right? So if we have the family in a more protected space with people that care, that have built trust, that are helping to introduce access to things that might have been a challenge before, we see longitudinally this is better for the entire family as it relates to their ability to live the life that they want to live.